never wanted to be the radio operator on the Northern Star. The position opened unexpectedly when Jameson, the previous operator, vanished during the night shift. The captain claimed he must have fallen overboard. A tragic accident. No one mentioned the strange broadcast Jameson had reported in the weeks before his disappearance. Our cargo vessel made regular Atlantic crossings, carrying everything from electronics to agricultural equipment. 15 crew members, 6-week journeys, mundane work, until I took over Jameson's position and discovered what he'd been hearing. It started 3 days into my first crossing. A faint signal cutting through the usual maritime chatter, a voice speaking words I couldn't quite make out. I adjusted the frequency, trying to clear the transmission, but the voice remained distant, as if coming from somewhere impossibly far away. "This is the Northern Star. Please identify," I said into the microphone. The voice continued, oblivious to my response. I recorded the transmission, planning to enhance it later. The signal faded after 6 minutes, leaving only static. That night, I analyzed the recording. Cleaning up the interference revealed a man's voice, speaking slowly. "Cannot maintain. They're watching through the glass. Water in the corridors. Sending this warning." I brought the recording to Captain Mercer, who dismissed it as crossed signals or a hoax. "The Atlantic's full of pranksters with radio equipment," he said. "Forget about it." But the transmissions continued, growing stronger each night. Always the same voice, increasingly desperate, mentioning coordinates that changed daily, but always placed the signal approximately 50 miles ahead of our position. I plotted the coordinates on a chart, forming a straight line across the Atlantic, our exact course. Whatever was transmitting was moving just ahead of us, or wanted us to think it was. A week into the journey, the voice changed. The words became clearer, more urgent. "This is Alexander Morris, radio operator of the SS Windermere. If anyone receives this, change course immediately. Do not approach these coordinates. What we found here, it follows now." I searched the maritime registry. The SS Windermere had disappeared without a trace in 1973, over 50 years ago. That night, I broke into the captain's records. In his log, I found what I was looking for. Our shipping company had lost 3 vessels along this same route over the past decade. Each time, the radio operators had reported unusual transmissions before communications failed. When I confronted Captain Mercer, his weathered face seemed to age another decade. "You think we haven't changed course, adjusted our route? It doesn't matter. It finds us anyway." "What finds us?" I demanded. "I don't know. Nobody knows. But it's hungry, and radio operators always hear it first." That night, locked in the radio room, I received the clearest transmission yet. "They're inside now, moving through the walls. Not human. Never were. Just wearing their faces. I've barricaded myself in, but the door won't hold. If you're receiving this, the Northern Star is already doomed. It's been following you since your departure. Check the hull. You'll see the marks." I convinced 2 deckhands to examine the hull with me. On the starboard side, below the waterline, we found them. Long, parallel grooves in the steel, as if enormous claws had been dragging along the ship's side. The captain ordered an immediate increase in speed. For 2 days, we maintained maximum velocity, burning fuel at an unsustainable rate. The transmission stopped, and I began to hope we'd outrun whatever was stalking us. Then came the fog, thick, impenetrable, emerging suddenly despite clear weather forecasts. The temperature dropped 20 degrees in minutes. On the radio, only static, all normal channels dead. I was adjusting the dials when a new transmission broke through. Not a voice this time, but a sound. Rhythmic tapping, like Morse code. But following no pattern I recognized. I wrote down the sequence anyway, repeating it to myself. After several repetitions, I realized it wasn't code at all. It was mimicking the sound of our engine, perfectly matching the rhythm, then gradually slowing it down, as if something was telling us what was about to happen. Minutes later, the engines failed. We were adrift in the fog, the emergency generators providing minimal power. The crew gathered in the mess hall while engineers worked frantically on the engines. I stayed in the radio room, sending distress calls that disappeared into static. Around midnight, I heard it. A soft scraping against the hull, moving slowly from stern to bow. I ran to the porthole but saw only fog pressed against the glass like a living thing. The scraping continued, circling the ship, occasionally punctuated by a sound like suction cups detaching from metal. By morning, 2 crew members had disappeared. We found strange residue in their cabins, a clear, viscous fluid that smelled of rotting seaweed. The engines remained dead, and the fog showed no signs of lifting. That's when the radio crackled to life again. This time, the voice was Jameson's.
"Williams,"
he said, using my name.
"I can see the ship. I'm coming back. Jameson, where are you?"
I responded, my voice shaking.
"In the water, all around you. It's beautiful down here once you change. You should join us."
Through the porthole, I saw shapes moving in the fog, human-like but wrong, their proportions distorted, their movements too fluid.
"The fog is us,"
Jameson's voice continued.
"We're coming aboard now."
The captain ordered all hatches sealed, but it was too late. The fog itself seemed to seep through every crack, bringing with it the smell of the deep ocean. 3 more crew members vanished during the night, leaving only trails of that same viscous fluid. On the 3rd day, I woke to find the fog had entered my cabin, condensing on the ceiling into a shape almost human. It watched me with depressions where eyes that should have been, water occasionally dripping like tears. The radio hasn't worked since. The captain hanged himself this morning. 5 of us remain, barricaded in the mess hall. The shapes in the fog press against the windows, wearing the faces of our missing crewmates, faces that occasionally slip to reveal something else beneath. I'm writing this in the logbook, hoping someone will find it. The engine room is flooded now, but not with seawater. Something thicker, alive. They're coming through the vents now. The fluid is rising around our ankles. Jameson is outside the door, calling my name, promising that the change doesn't hurt. He's lying. I can hear the others screaming as they transform. The door won't hold much longer. I can feel the fog inside my lungs now, changing me from within. My fingers are already webbed, my skin translucent. If you find this ship, burn it. If you hear a radio transmission from the Northern Star, change course immediately. We are the fog now, and we're hungry. The distress beacon had been broadcasting for 6 days when our fishing trawler picked up the signal. Maritime law required us to investigate, so we altered course toward the signal from the Lady Lazarus, a yacht registered to billionaire Victor Crane. We reached the coordinates after midnight. The sea was unnaturally calm, reflecting a star-filled sky. Our spotlight revealed a pristine 120-foot luxury yacht floating upright, seemingly undamaged but completely silent. Captain Rivera selected me and Thomas to investigate. The main cabin revealed an interrupted meal Rotting food, half-full wine glasses, chairs pushed back as if diners had left suddenly. The galley showed similar abandonment, while the salon displayed signs of struggle, overturned furniture and shattered glass. In the master bedroom, we found sheets soaked with fresh seawater despite the climate-controlled interior. In the center lay an iridescent purple conch shell of unusual size. On the bridge, Rivera showed us the yacht's navigation system, somehow operational despite the vessel's powerless state. It displayed dozens of identical distress beacons forming a perfect circle around our location. It's a trap, I realized aloud. The yacht's engine suddenly roared to life. Through the windows, I saw our trawler drifting away, our crew frantically signaling. We were moving rapidly toward the center of the beacon circle. Ahead, a massive whirlpool formed in our path. We ran for the lifeboats but found them missing or damaged. From below came singing, a chorus of voices in perfect, inhuman harmony. The whirlpool's edge was lined with debris from other vessels. Among them swam human-like figures moving with unnatural coordination. As they approached, I saw their beautiful faces watching us with anticipation. Rivera grabbed my shoulder. "They're not human," he hissed. "Look closer." I forced myself to focus, and the illusion faltered. The beautiful faces flickered, occasionally revealing something ancient and grey with too many teeth and abyssal eyes. As the yacht tilted into the vortex, Rivera broadcast the yacht's pre-programmed distress signal, the same one that had lured us here. Our coordinates were added to the perfect circle of beacons. I woke on a section of decking, the sole survivor. The authorities found no evidence of my story, no whirlpool, no circle of beacons. My crew reported only that the yacht had mysteriously exploded. 3 weeks later, another distress beacon activated in the same region. The responding vessel disappeared without a trace. I've taken a job on land now, but when it rains, I hear that singing voices calling me back to the water. In my dreams, I swim in the vortex with the others, waiting to welcome new voices to our eternal choir. Dr. Eliza Chen knew the Abyssal Explorer was humanity's most advanced deep-sea research submersible. What she didn't know was that it would become her coffin. The mission was straightforward: descend to the Mariana Trench's deepest point to collect biological samples. 3 crew members, 2 weeks of preparation, 1 historic dive. Chen would pilot, with marine biologist Marcus Hayes and geologist Tanya Reid completing the team. Their descent began smoothly, the submersible's reinforced hull withstanding the increasing pressure as they passed 5,000 feet, then 15,000. The darkness outside grew absolute, broken only by the explorer's powerful external lights, which illuminated a barren underwater landscape and occasional deep-sea creatures. At 30,000 feet, they encountered the anomaly. "What is that?" Hayes pointed at a dark mass visible at the edge of their lights. Chen adjusted their course to investigate. As they approached, the mass resolved into a structure, geometric, artificial, impossible at this depth. A perfect black cube, each side approximately 50 feet long, sitting on the ocean floor. "This can't be here," Reid whispered. "Human construction can't survive this pressure." The cube had no visible seams or markings. Their instruments registered no energy signatures, no radiation, nothing to explain its presence. "We should contact the surface," Hayes suggested, reaching for the communications panel. "No response," Chen reported after multiple attempts. "We're too deep for clear transmission. We'll have to wait until we ascend to report this." Reid pressed her face to the viewport. changing. The cube's surface had begun to ripple, as if liquid despite its solid appearance. A section in the center is depressed, forming what looked unmistakably like an entrance. "It's inviting us in," Hayes said, his scientific curiosity overriding caution. Chen shook her head. "Absolutely not. We're documenting and ascending." As if responding to her refusal, the submersible's lights flickered and died. The backup systems activated automatically, but illuminated a changed scene. The cube was now inches from their viewport, its entrance aligned perfectly with their position. The submersible lurched forward, systems overridden by an external force. Chen fought with the controls as they were inexorably pulled into the cube's entrance. Inside was a space that defied physics, larger than the cube had appeared from outside, filled with a breathable atmosphere despite the crushing depths. Their craft settled on a smooth floor as the entrance sealed behind them. "This is impossible," Reed whispered, checking their instruments. "We should be crushed instantly without the submersible's protection. But environmental readings show standard pressure, breathable air." "We're hallucinating," Chen insisted. "Pressure psychosis. We need to restart systems and get out." But when the external cameras activated, they showed they were indeed inside a vast chamber. The walls pulsed with soft blue light, revealing intricate patterns that shifted constantly, almost like writing. Hayes, against all protocol, suggested they exit the submersible. "The readings indicate it's safe," he argued. "This could be the greatest discovery in human history." "Or a death trap," Chen countered. Their debate ended when the submersible's hatch opened by itself. Air rushed in, breathable, but carrying an ancient, organic scent. With their exit sealed and systems failing, they had no choice but to explore. The chamber extended beyond their flashlight beams. The patterns on the walls responded to their presence, shifting to follow their movements. Reed stopped to examine them, her scientific mind trying to decipher their meaning. "They're changing too fast to document," she complained, recording with her phone. "But there's a pattern, almost like they're learning from us." They found no other exits, no signs of who or what had created this place. But deep in the chamber, they discovered a pool of what appeared to be water, its surface perfectly still, reflecting the blue lights like a mirror. Hayes knelt beside it. "This might connect to the outside, could be our way out." As he reached toward the surface, the liquid rose to meet his fingers. Contact was brief, but the effect immediate. Hayes gasped, his eyes widening as the liquid crawled up his arm like a living thing. Chen pulled him back, but too late. The substance had already been absorbed into his skin, leaving no trace except a slight blue luminescence in his veins. "I can hear it," Hayes whispered, his expression shifting between wonder and terror. "It's been here for millions of years, waiting. It needs bodies." Reed backed away. "We need to get back to the submersible, now." But Hayes was changing before their eyes, his skin developing a translucent quality, his movements becoming fluid, unnatural. "Don't you want to understand?" he asked, his voice overlaid with something older, deeper. "Let me show you." He lunged at Reed, fingers elongating into tentacle-like appendages that wrapped around her throat. Chen hit him with her flashlight, a blow that should have knocked him unconscious but merely caused his newly malleable form to absorb the impact. Hayes, or what had been Hayes, smiled with too many teeth. "The pressure won't affect us anymore. We can swim freely in the deepest parts. Isn't that what you always wanted, Eliza? To truly explore the abyss?" Chen ran, dragging a gasping Reed with her. Behind them, Hayes's laughter echoed, accompanied by the wet sounds of his continuing transformation. They reached the submersible and sealed the hatch moments before Hayes slammed against it, his body now barely recognizable as human. Through the viewport, Chen watched in horror as he pressed against the glass, his face elongating, bones visibly shifting beneath his skin. "Start the engines," Reed begged, her neck bruised from Hayes's grip. The submersible responded sluggishly, but the cube's entrance reopened as they approached, expelling them back into the crushing depths of the trench. Their craft groaned under the sudden pressure change, but the reinforced hull held. As they ascended, communications gradually returned. Chen reported a tragic accident. Hayes lost during an equipment malfunction. No unusual discoveries to report. She erased the camera footage and swore Reed to secrecy, decisions born of self-preservation rather than scientific integrity. They almost made it back. At 5,000 feet, Reed complained of feeling unwell. By 3,000 feet, her skin had developed the same blue luminescence they'd seen in Hayes. At 1,000 feet, she was fully transforming, her screams becoming gurgles as her lungs adapted to filter water instead of air. Chen locked herself in the pilot's compartment, listening to the sounds of Reed's transformation on the other side of the reinforced door. The radio crackled with concerned messages from the surface ship, questioning her erratic ascent pattern. When the submersible finally surfaced, authorities found Chen alone, traumatized, claiming both colleagues had been lost to equipment failures. The recovery team noted the strange organic residue throughout the rear compartment, but attributed it to deep-sea bacterial growth. Chen never returned to the ocean. She lives in Montana now, as far from large bodies of water as she can manage. She's refused all interviews and destroyed her research notes. But at night, her skin sometimes glows with a faint blue luminescence. And in her bathroom, she keeps the tub filled but never uses it, though sometimes in the morning she finds it disturbed, water on the floor, as if something had emerged and then returned. The Abyssal Explorer was decommissioned after 3 recovery crew members disappeared during its cleaning. The submersible was scuttled in the Pacific, sent back to the depths where, perhaps, it truly belongs. The Mariana Trench remains largely unexplored. Recent sonar surveys indicate a large, geometric anomaly at its deepest point, but no further expeditions have been approved. Some mysteries are best left in darkness.